Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be discussing Doctor Who The Collection. And I'm going to continue the series I've been doing where I've been basically discussing unreleased Doctor Who sets in the collection range and how I would do the art if I was in charge of it and had the talent to do it. And today we're going to be looking at Season 15, which of course is the fourth Doctor, my personal favorite. Season 15 has about two different ways I'd go with the front cover. I'd either lean into Horror of Fang Rock, having a predominantly green color, since I do think that's the strongest story of the season by a good margin, even though I like other stories that season. Or I would go with the Sunmakers and give it a predominantly yellow cover, because we haven't really had a predominantly yellow cover. The closest we've had to it is Axons, because I think that would really look good. Plus, I enjoy the Sunmakers a lot. So predominantly green or predominantly yellow. My only iffy part about having it do Horror of Fang Rock is we have a lot of green in Season 17. I don't know if they'd want to go, a lot of green in 15, and then the magenta color they'll probably use for 16. And then have another green predominantly on 17 like it does in this bottom half. I think a good way to switch that up would be to go yellow for Season 15. With the Sunmakers. Now, if they go green, it needs to be an eerie, creepy, scary green. If it's really going to lean into Horror of Fang Rock, give it that glowing, creepy green that the creature actually has. Make it look like a spooky cover. But like I said, I'd be fine with it going yellow, maybe a little more playful like some of the other stories. Having you could even have some of the suns in the background, like have 4 suns behind Tom burning bright, since I think Pluto was supposed to have 4 artificial suns behind it. You could do something with that. He could be holding the dog whistle for K9. I think that's a good thing since this is K9's introductory season. Tom could be holding the dog whistle. That's the main thing I think of for this season. And I think I'd like to see something like yellow on the box set. That way all of Tom's even numbered sets would have kind of a bluish magenta color to them, and all of his odd number sets would be something different. Like, because 12 has a lot of purple in it. 14 has a lot of red and blue in it, but it still touches on that blue. 16 will probably be the magenta of the Key to Time, unless the leak not leak, but the hint we got from Lee Binding is for Season 16. Then it'll have a lot of pink and blue in it. And then 17, of course, would have the red, blue, and green here. Predominantly the green standing out, and then of course the purple of 18. So his even numbered seasons would have a lot of blue, purple in them, and his odd numbered seasons would have different colors. I think that would look really good on a shelf together. I think for creatures on it, I think you have the fake Reuben. When I don't think you have the Rutan itself. I don't know if that would work on the cover, but I think after the creature's killed Reuben and it's impersonating Reuben, having the Rutan Reuben. The Rutan Reuben. That's hard to say. The Rutan Reuben. I like that. There should be a sandwich called that. The Rutan Reuben. I like that. I want a sandwich named that now. I think a creepy, image of him should be on the cover. You could have the lighthouse kind of in the background rising up out of the back if you wanted. That's one idea if you went with the green cover. The kind of image rising up behind him could be the lighthouse with light shining out of it. You could have one or two of the infected guys from Enemy of the Invisible Enemy with the stuff around their eyes. You could have 1 or 2 of them on there. The Fendal from Image, you got to have its final form, rising up with the little lizard dragon, whatever thing that is behind her, dressed in all gold, that's behind her. That should probably be the image that's rising up on the back, kind of like where Kronos is on Pertwee here. That one image at the top of the others facing forward. That should be the Fendal, doing her arms outstretched. That'd be the perfect spot, especially if you go with a yellow cover. That would be the perfect spot for her, posed up like that with the thing kind of looming over behind her. That's what they need to do with that. I think for Sunmakers, you at least have the tax guy in the chair, the kind of slimy one. You need him in there. I'd be fine with the other guy too, the kind of arrogant one with his arms folded. I'd be fine with him being there too, but you definitely need the Weasley guy on there. I really think for Underworld, you do kind of the bad guys when they're wearing those helmets, the kind of helmets they wear for part of the story. You have 1 or 2 of them on the cover. I think the helmets look pretty nice. And then for the Invasion of Time, you have the Suntarans. You definitely don't want to put the Vardens. You have the Suntarans. And specifically, that shot they use at the cliffhanger, was it episode 3, episode 4? Whenever it is when the Suntarans show up and that one just points the gun and that's the cliffhanger, that's the shot you need. Not just a Suntaran, you need 2 or 3 of them. The one Suntaran standing there holding the gun out after he just drew it with a couple Suntarans behind him. You need that shot from the cliffhanger of that episode. That needs to be like the biggest one on the cover. I love when the Suntarans are intimidating. That's the shot. If it's not that shot, I'm going to be disappointed, Levi Day. I'm going to be disappointed. Because it's one of my favorite shots of the Suntarans in all of Doctor Who. It's just right there when they show up at the end, right when the Doctor thinks he's won, he just pulls his weapon out and points it. You got the couple behind him. I love that. That needs to be on there. The back, you could do Underworld for the back. I think there's a lot of model work for Underworld. And a lot of the model work for Underworld looks really, really good. So I could see doing a beautiful shot from Underworld there. Because I really like Zimato work. The flap, you could do a couple things. You could do Horror of Fang Rock for the flap. The lighthouse kind of in the background, the part that opens up with the TARDIS on it. You could have Leela and Tom just getting out of the TARDIS with the lighthouse looming behind them. Maybe some glowing green off to the corner. Something really spooky and creepy with that would be really good if you wanted to do horror for the flap. The invasion would also work as well, I think. For the flap, the booklet, you could definitely do the Invasion of Time. That would be a good spot to do the Doctor in his more ceremonial robes, his presidential robes, because I really don't want him wearing those on the front cover. I think they look gaudy. But I think they would be good for the booklet, kind of like when he wore his robes in the season 14. Him having the little circlet and the staff of Rassilon. I think that would be really good maybe for the season 15 cover. I would, I think that would look really good. I feel like I had another one I was forgetting about that would have worked really well. But I can't think of it right off the top of my head. That's how I would do that. And the TARDIS interior, I don't really know what I'd do for the TARDIS interior. I can't think of anything special right off the top other than just having that nice season 15 TARDIS, which I like that TARDIS. That could be my favorite TARDIS set, one of my favorite TARDIS sets, a lot. Disc. Let's talk about disc. We have 6 stories. I really think you could do this one in 7 disc or 8. I think it'll be 7 or 8 disc because one story could get 2 disc. A lot of it will boil down to if they do any updated effects for anything this season. I could see season 15 not getting it. It has become apparent with the last couple releases that we're not going to be getting updated effects for every box set. We didn't get any new ones for season 2. We didn't get any new ones for season 9. Now, part of that could be just so many episodes had to be restored on season 2, plus doing the Telesnap recons for those 2 episodes of Crusade. And season 9, of course, had like 15 of its 26 episodes needing restoration work because they weren't the original masters. Now, with all of season 15 having original masters, maybe that frees up the budget a little bit and they can do some updated effects. We'll see. But of the 6 stories in season 15, 2 of them already have updated effects, the Invisible Enemy and the Invasion of Time, and their updated effects look good. And I don't think Sunmakers needs them. I don't think Image of the Fendal needs them. And if I'm being honest, I don't really think Underworld needs them. All Underworld needs is a little CSO cleanup. That's it. I think the model work, especially in episodes 1 and 4, is some of the best model work in all of classic Doctor Who. It looks great. I think the laser blast they shoot look really good. They look very alien with that green and blue in them. They look like very alien lasers. Those hold up. It's just the CSO, which I can get over because it's really just episodes 2 and 3 where it's kind of problematic. And I can look past that. I think if you're going to touch up any effects, it's probably Horror of Fang Rock because Horror of Fang Rock's amazing. But there are some shots that could use some updated effects, as long as they're good updated effects and not just cheap CGI updated effects. If you're going to put something into it, put something into it. But if we don't get any new updated effects for season 15, I'll be fine with that. And I think you can do it in 7 discs. 1 disc for each story and then a bonus disc. We'll talk about the layout. Even though I know they seem to like to pad them out to 8 discs now, I could see them getting away with 7 here. So we'll talk about the disc art. I think on the front cover, it will just, the first disc, which will be Horror Fang Rock, I suspect it will just be Tom and Leela. A lot of times the first disc of a box set is the Doctor and the Companion. So I think it'll just be Tom and Leela. The second disc, I'd put K9 on it. I mean, it's kind of K9's story. K9 kind of deserves to be on the cover, I think. So on at least 1 disc. So I think you give K9 the disc for Invisible Enemy. Image of the Finn doll. Maybe the skull or somebody holding the skull, or you could do just an image of the Finn doll, or even Tom holding, when he's touching the skull and it's affecting him. For Sunmakers, I think I'd put Leela on the cover of Sunmakers. I feel like she just has a lot to do in Sunmakers. So if you're not going to put like the villains of Sunmakers, I'd put Leela on there. Maybe Leela and the one guy, the one who gave his father the golden deaths, being taxed a lot. Maybe both of them on it. That would work well. Underworld. I don't really know what I'd put on Underworld. I mean, I guess you could, I don't know if I'd do Tom. Maybe the villains with the helmets on, or some of the other good guys, like the one good guy with the curly hair who tries to go out fighting but ends up surviving anyway. I think you can put him on it, maybe a couple of them. I'm not really sure what I'd do for Underworld. Invasion of Time, I would have probably Tom, and again in that regal outfit, especially if you didn't use it for the booklet, I'd have that. Or you could do the Centaurans, either Tom or the Centaurans is what I'd do for that. And of course, the bonus disc, I would just have the TARDIS on it. That's kind of what they do, and that works. With, of course, the back image just being Tom's intro face like we always get. It's kind of what I would do there. So 7 disc. I'm not quite sure what I would give a second disc to if they padded it out to an 8 disc and one story got a second disc. I don't quite know what I'd give it to. Maybe, or either that or they just do 2 bonus discs. They could do that, bonus disc 1, bonus disc 2. They've done that before. So I'm not quite sure what I would do there. So 7 or 8 discs for season 15, with the front cover either being Horror Fang Rock or the Sunmakers. So that's how I would do season 15. I would like to know what you think of that and how you would do it. So comment down below and let me know. Other things to do. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button. That helps me out, and I certainly appreciate it. I am trying to hit 1,000 subscribers in 2023, and we are well on our way. I also have a Patreon. If you like what I do and would like to support what I do, there is a link to that down in the description below. That does help out, and I would certainly appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Colin Coney, and Dr. Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you would like to send me. Ooh, my eyes itching. If there's anything you would like to send me to look at and review. And a link to my Amazon wish list is down there as well. I did update that recently because there are, while I am closing in on having seen every classic Doctor Who story, especially all of the complete ones, there are a couple stories I've only seen once, and it's been a long time, that I've really wanted to rewatch. And so I have added them to the wish list recently, and that's The Invasion of Time, because I've never seen the special edition of it. I've seen clips of the special edition on YouTube, but I've never watched the whole story with the updated effects. So I want to see that, and then I'd really like to watch Image of the Finn doll again, because I've only seen both those stories once, and I really want to see Image again. Until recently, I only owned the Sunmakers from season 15, but people have been really nice. I've gotten Underworld, and I've gotten The Invisible Enemy recently, which I very much appreciate. So that's there. A link to that wish list is there if you want to check that out. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.